Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm as we continue on our quest for sensorality. Made some really good progress today as always, so kind of build up to that result. Again, I don't have to build up to it, but I found a form of the word out in the wild. And so, again, trying to tighten up this proof, which what I think should be called or is called closing a proof. Or we've constructed a variable and now we're reducing all of this, we're uniterating all of this logic, and we're converging on this finalizing, stabilizing theorem to solidify sensorality's definition. Right? Certainly not the end of mathematics or the end of derivation, or it's the end of the proof of sensorality. But we found when we find these elements out in the wild, we get closer to tightening up the proof or to closing the proof, whatever you want to call it. But again, to reinforce, remember, the entire logical umbrella that we are deriving under is from rhythm to algorithm, right? Rhythm is our fundamental base of R3. You want to do a physical process, you want to increase that efficiency, you're going to form a rhythm. If you don't believe me, just turn on any sport channel and wait like 5 seconds, someone's going to blurt it out for you. But then algorithm is not really well defined. It's some sort of integration, right? Language litigation integration, if you will, of sentient filtration and inanimate objects filtering information. And so trying to pull all of this stuff, all of these big ideas together, and really we haven't said that many big concepts, we're just doing a ton of linguistical iteration and showing the preservation of logic with all of our new mathematical properties and principles. But from rhythm to algorithm is the logical statement we are actually iterating. So picking up, we have regular and vulgar, giving us those two different bases of garrity and gularity. Not really sure where that comes into play, but it's certainly there. Sensorality is consistensality. Again, that C is kind of awkward for English speakers, but it's a C representing the soft, that's sound, more like a cedille in French. What is distillation? Distillation, vibration, distillation, remove again, now we can see that dimension, distillation, that DI, remove the prefix. What is stillation, right? What is still? Vibration is still. Something that is not moving is still. Again, a cyclic process without work is a vibration. Sensorality distills. Distillation extracts. Removal is extraction. Sensorality is extraction, right? You censor something, you extract it, you remove it from being seen. Filtrationality distills. And currently, our operative word for sensorality is filtration, and now we're trying to prove that. Speciality is vitriolicality. Vitriol, special. And now another thing don't really know what to make of it, but again, special to me, I'll try to put it on the screen, but I get that in French. And again, I said it in one of my other videos, I don't think it was this series, but to me there's not one older language, like chronology obviously exists, so there obviously is some older languages than other languages, but the verbiage when a given experience is most specifically or correctly articulated, that's kind of like the language where the diction sticks around the longest. So that's why you have different loan words. I used the example of doppelganger from German, but just anything you would classify as a loan word in one language from another is really just a more specific experience articulated in that language. So it's more efficient to assume the diction that language generated. So, but that's more that when you say special, it's like in French, but it's 2 syllables, right? And then you say, but then why can't we, expand that out to special? And then again, when you naturally speak in language, because that's what we're doing with this, showing the syllability linguistically. Because when you speak, again, you skip syllables and you contract them very naturally, and so. Again, is special, again, this contracted form in special, right? Is that word really representative of 3 syllables? And can we make that statement to, again, right, we have this fundamental stability of 2, and so what is this relationship of 2 to 3? But special versus special. Nasty is dirty. Again, just tidying up all of these different things. If I just say a random theorem, again, just come to mind, but might relate to some other, again, I don't look at anything I do previously, so But again, I have explained to you that I'm deriving pretty much all day, and the stuff that strikes me as novel enough to write down, I do. What is the difference between iteration and integration? Right? Iteration to me is just you have this, again, set amount of elements and you're just changing them. You're substituting them. Integration is you're taking one element and you're adding it to something else, and it's retaining its same properties or something. I don't know. Syllability is irreducibility. Again, logically and linguistically, like the IRREDU, that's kind of a prefix. Sibility, CIBILITY. Phonetically, the sounds is very similar to syllability, is irreducibility. Trying to connect more stuff there. Absence produces silence. Silence is complete quietness. Sensorality is exploratory. Sensorality explains. All right, now here's another one of those dichotomistic pairs, explain versus plain. Right? If you explain something, you make it more basic, or are you making it more plain? What is this relationship of linguistic representation, the letters to the sounds, and to the logical meanings? Description, explanation, and then we can break down plain to plan. Right? Again, that function of this letter I, here it doesn't even represent the sound E. So what, again, this iteration of sounds. We only have a set amount of sounds, they're iterating. And they iterate to produce integration. An algorithm is a plan. Speciality is inappropriate. Sensorality appropriates. What is the relationship of slipping and sliding? And if there was one, you might even have a slip and slide. Do those exist? Gotcha again, Harvard. Sliding is smooth, slipping is accidental. And again, still 2012 physics AP board exam members, you put the word slip in there and it slipped everybody up on that because it's fundamental ontological and the words literally don't exist to explain it. So you hit on everybody's intuition and nobody knows how to respond to the question because, yeah, you guys, yeah. But truly just a great example of all of these type of things that I told you that story multiple times. Sensorality is accidentality. Right, accidental, we just put ality at the end, but again, it already has that AL, so again, now we can see that anything that ends with an AL, you just put the ITY, again, like the special with an ITY, royalty with an ITY, we can immediately generalize that to something else. But then sense, right, then axa is now a prefix. Sensorality is dental, right? You have big teeth. Who sent that one out there? Mental, dental, right? Dental is oral, right? Dentality is a word specifically to orality, which we've shown is exclusive to people, or like in individuals. But then what does people mean? Does people mean human? Who knows? Stay tuned for whenever science team stops lying about all of the big buildings they built underground. But that was a big connection. Dentality is orality, but with teeth. And again, like I said, stay tuned, everybody. We're going to learn about how we have big teeth. Compared to who? Nobody knows. Right, Air Force Base, excuse me. Sensorality is propertality. Correct is proper. Proper is classy. Classificationality is classy. And so now I keep thinking about chirality. I swear that concept haunts me in my dreams even more than light does. But it just says it's a mirror reflection. So I'm going to change my operative defined definition. And again, nobody's keeping up with this shit anyway. But chirality now is it's mirrorality. But see, now look here, right? What is a mirror? Something that reflects you, right? It reflects light. And now we have chirality and light. Oh, goodness gracious. But what if we just say sensorality is mirrorality? And look, right, mirror ends in OR. So because we've proven this, if it ends in OR and generalizes to orality, right, what is a mirror? Right, if you mimic somebody, you're mirroring them. So the word mirror actually precedes definitively etymology of the thing when you look and brush your hair or brush your teeth. Mirroring is a concept that was solidified before the actual technology. Because then again, what is technology, right? Tech prefix nology. What the fuck? What is anybody saying? And so the word mirror is to, again, it generalizes to orality. Sensorality is mirrorality. And then now here's our, again, our tightening up, our tightening up element that I found out in the wild. I even found it at Greg's, bruv. I got on the tube and went to the pub and it was right there, bruv. I was watching Arsenal, mate. Right? Senality, Arsenal. A-R-S-E-A or S-E-N-A-L. Right? Senal, senality, senal, arsenal. Right? So senality is arsenal. Arsenality is arsenal. Right? And now we just forget the letters, arson. Right? Sensorality is arson. And so that's kind of, again, tightening up. It's not our finalizing thing, but we're making huge reductions, huge reductions. And then finally, one little bonus theorem. An arsenal is in a repertoire, right? And fuck France. We always got to remember, fuck France. For no actual specific reason, but fuck France. So thank you for watching. A lot of progress. We got to be getting freaking close. And on to the next video. See you on the next one.